Get into these three habits. All of them are linked together, and the first one, when I go back a few years ago, I would spend so much time consuming content. I would spend like 4 or 5 hours a day watching YouTube videos. Was an addict, and no matter how much I tried to stop, I just couldn't. So I would say to myself as I was watching videos late at night, this is the last video I'll watch, then I'll go to sleep. But I'd click on another one and I'd watch another one, and the cycle would repeat non-stop. But then one day I started to read things from millionaires about how important the diet is, but then I recognized that my diet is equivalent of McDonald's. You can't stop eating forever, just like I couldn't stop consuming content forever. I just changed what I was consuming to good things. I changed from McDonald's to vegetables. Example, as soon as I did that, I noticed my brain started to shift, because basically what happens is, everybody has a paradigm, a way that they view the world, and the way that you view the world dictates what actions you do, and the actions you do dictate the results that you do. So if you have the same paradigm, you're going to do the same actions and get the same results. The only way for you to start getting different results in your life is to change the paradigm that you have, and the best way to change the paradigm you have is to change the content that you consume. That's what shapes the paradigm you have. When you look back in the history of your life, most people have a Quake book, which is a book that when you read it completely change your paradigm, completely changes the way that you live life. Warren Buffett had a quick book called The Intelligent Investor when he was 19, and he said it completely transformed his life. The problem is most people only have one quick book in their entire life. What would happen if you had a quick book once a decade, or once a year, or once a month? Your life can be completely transformed. And there's millions of books out there, there's millions of pieces of content out there that if you consumed it would completely change the perspective you have, would help you get success, would help you improve your relationship. All these benefits can come as soon as you start to take your information diet more seriously. So, I'd recommend that you download the app Instapopper, so when you're reading things online you save it to Instapopper, and you highlight the best things. I would recommend you use a Kindle, because then you can highlight the best of what you consume. Then download the app Readwise, and what that's going to do is it's going to export all your highlights directly into a database, so that you can search the best of what you consume, so that when you learn a lesson you can refer to it easily. If you really want to set that up, I highly recommend you do, and you can go on the website readsomethinggreat.com if you want to improve your information diet. A bunch of cool stuff there. When I did that, massive things started to shift in my life, which leads me on to habit 2. As I was consuming all this content, I started to notice people saying different things. I would read one book that told me to work hard, and I'd read another book that told me that working hard wasn't the solution, it's working smart, and this would really frustrate me. It would send me into a state of confusion. And when I was confused, I couldn't take any sort of action, and I started to understand the importance of figuring out the way things worked. I realized that knowledge is power, and as soon as you see the world the way it is, you're able to navigate the world to get the things that you want to get. And it was so important to me to figure out the best way to do things, but people were contradicting themselves. Which is why I started writing for myself. It's why I started journaling, because what journaling is, it's clear thinking. When you write things down, you're able to slow down in your thought patterns, inspect them, analyze whether they're true, and then move on to the next thought, instead of just having the same thoughts cycle around in your head every day. You can put them on paper, analyze them, and then change the thoughts that repeat in your mind. It's why people like Jeff Bezos in the whole Amazon has completely banned PowerPoints. He recognizes the flaws of verbal communication and thoughts, and much prefers writing because it slows you down, it makes you think clearly and carefully, and increases the likelihood that you're analyzing the subject objectively. It's why companies like Stripe have a writing culture where everyone is told to write. When you write, you're able to go deep into a topic, and you see how these two things link. I was consuming content, now I'm processing that content to try and understand how things work, and that leaves me onto the third habit, which is actually putting everything you learned into action. and you can do this in loads of different ways. You can start a business, you can work in a job, and you can apply the things, but the way that I found is by far the most synergistic is creating content, because think about it, you've already done 99 of the work, you've gone and you've dived deep into a topic, you've consumed dozens of hours of content, hundreds of hours or thousands of hours for some of the people watching this, and you've been thinking about all this content. Now all you must do, and it's a very short step compared to the work you've done previously, is put content out about the stuff that you've consumed. If you spend 20 hours learning a topic, all you must do is summarize those 20 hours into 20 minutes and put it out in a tweet or put it out in a video, and automatically you're creating content. But not only are you creating content which is going to let you build an audience and will benefit the people, but just by creating content, you are teaching, and we know that the best way to learn is to teach. So by creating content you're learning better as well, but also because you know the piece of content out there, it puts more pressure on you to make sure the content's true, and if it's not true, very quickly you get comments telling you that it's not true and correcting you. So overall it's an incredible way to learn, and it's completely transformed my life. So when I put all these three habits together, consuming content, processing that content, and then creating content based off the content that I've consumed, and I've managed to turn a content consumption habit into a superpower, into something that's great. And I say this as if I'm perfect and I figured it all out. These are the things that I've done right. These are the 3 things that I've done right, but there's 300 things that I did wrong that I just haven't talked about in this video. So these are the best of the things that I've learned, and I hope you've enjoyed.